Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our StarEAST interviews at the StarEAST Conference 2025, reporting from Orlando, Florida. We are now joined by one of my comrades, performers from all over the world that it's been a while and I had been looking forward to meet. I don't know why we haven't walked into each other in the past. I know that you have been in previous Star conferences.
Yep, ships passing in the night, I guess. Just
Uh,
we're always busy.
Running around, yeah.
Yes.
And well, we have our friend, amigo Lee Barnes. Lee, welcome. How are
Thank
you?
you. Yep, great to be here. Awesome.
Having a lot of fun.
Yeah, always StarEAST is always a good
Yeah,
time.
it's a great experience and so great. I mean, it's so overwhelming that I end up all like destroyed. But this show is not about me. We want to know a little bit about you, amigo. And first of all, for the ones that do not know you, would you mind introducing yourself? Who are you? What do you do? What makes you special?
So Lee Barnes, Chief Quality Officer at Forte Group. I've been involved in what I do, which is primarily performance testing, test automation, quality engineering processes for over 30 years now, which is kind of scary to admit and think about. But yeah, I made it a career and stuck with it, and certainly happy with that.
Yeah, for the ones that do not know as well, when I was starting, because I've been 15, 20 years in the performance world. And yeah, Mr. Lee Barnes, I was just like reading some of the things that you were doing or some of the tutorials, presentations, and looking up and like, wow, this guy is really good. And now here we are. It's a good moment. I love this surreal.
Well, and I have to say too, when I first, and this has been a while ago, discovered who you were, I learned a lot from your stuff. So I really appreciate.
What?
Well,
Oh my God.
as you advance in your career, sometimes you get stuck in the way you do things, or as I kind of progressed in more kind of overseeing and directing, right? You get out of the kind of the day-to-day work, and a lot to just learn from what you were learning on your project. So I really appreciate that as well.
Oh wow. I'm blushing. This is great, amigo, and thank you for your kind words. I think as well, sometimes we go in different paths, and technology, the performance world is so vast as well. So many
Yes.
things that you can rabbit holes all over the place, bottlenecks all over the place that can get interesting. But before we dive into more performance and stuff, because I have a feeling we can geek out big time around all that. Would you mind sharing? This is not your first Star conference.
No.
How many Star conferences have you been around?
Wow. I think my first one was 2015. So this will be about 10 years.
10
I haven't been
years.
to all of them. Obviously, we had COVID in the middle there. Um, but I think my first one was 2015.
Wow.
So
Like, got good trajectory.
yeah.
You experienced the huge days before COVID and all that. 'Cause
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
it was way, way bigger.
Much bigger. Yeah. Probably double at least
Oh
than
my
it is
God.
now, even.
And I feel overwhelmed
But
right
it's going the
now.
right way. It's going the right way. It's
Yeah.
getting bigger every year since COVID.
I have a feeling soon it's going to get back to
Yeah.
what it was before.
Absolutely.
And just as curiosity, do you remember what was your participation the very first time that you were here?
I gave a talk on, I think it was called Test Automation in the Real World.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't performance, but it was essentially a talk on test automation, the realities. So just underneath all the tools and the frameworks, what are the realities of what people are experiencing? And when they fail, why do they fail? And why do they succeed? Why did they succeed? Which, in my experience, has had nothing to do with, well, not nothing, very little to do with the tool and the framework.
Yeah. Yeah, everywhere you may have the best tool, you may have everything in place, but there are so many other factors that we don't take into account that, oops, and things happen.
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
Not to call it in
A lot of the same issues that factor into performance, right?
Oh, yeah,
Environment and data and requirements and process and the ability to analyze results.
Everything gets in between, and yeah, you're just making me think. Yesterday, the amigo Lee was collaborating with us in the performance testing panel, and the classic tool question popped up, and we were talking about like, yeah, you can have all these functionalities in the tool, but as well, the people who's the end game, your goal audience for the report, all those things that um, it's not a simple topic, and I'm glad that you started your star career. It sounds he's a superstar, yes, but no, no, no. We are talking about the STAR conferences. Do you know what's the acronym for? I just learned yesterday.
Software
Testing,
testing.
automation, reporting, or something like that. The R
Oh,
I can't
I don't
remember.
know what the R is. Yeah.
It's a resolution reporting revelations. I don't know, but it's not because it's star. Yeah, I was like, really? Oh my god, that 4 years in, and that's what you learn. You always get something new. And speaking of these collaborations and your participation, what's the story with you this year? What have you been doing in the conference at Star?
Really busy this year. So I had a talk yesterday on how to become a test automation rock star. So my observations over 30 years of what kind of differentiates the those in test automation who have added real value versus those who are just automating things. With the panel with you, thank you
Hmm.
very much. It was an honor to be
No,
part
no,
of
it was
that.
super fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. We have the panel again this afternoon. I have no idea what to expect, but I'm sure it's going to be fun. And yeah, and of course, just meeting all the people. That's what's great about these things is, I think we get stuck in scheduling meetings and they're virtual. And yeah, it's you talk to people and you get things done, but you always have conversations here that you didn't expect. They're unscripted. You always learn something new. You always meet new people, and so it's awesome.
If you manage to come and be in one of these conferences, follow this recommendation. Go out, meet people, talk to them. Oh, but it's not a presenter. No, everybody walking around here will bring crazy ideas, great ideas that you will be mind blown of all what you can get out of all these events. As you very well said, you could be like a horse with your eyes covered
Yeah,
at the sides, working, virtual meetings, and it becomes kind of like a bubble
yeah,
that you don't see other ideas. And I love that here you see all the mix up. It's a melting pot of ideas that you can
yes,
collaborate and integrate.
yeah. Just in terms of ideas and learning things new and things you want to try, you learn more in this week, than you would in 6 months sitting in your office, and it's
Yeah,
um, uh, just incredible experience.
mind blowing. Yeah, totally. I have to admit, my first conference was not a star one, but the first conference that I attended, I came back with like, whoa, there's so much more, so many different things that I never even pondered about. And I even was a little bit like agile. My
Yep.
big topic on those days was agile. Like, how are people expecting to not to do load tests with this agile thing? They're changing too much and all grumpy, right?
Yep.
And when you get exposed to all these ideas, like, huh, you start pondering. But speaking of pondering, you got me thinking. Would you mind sharing some recommendations from your talk? I would like to be a rock star. What do maybe people tuning in would like to learn how to?
Sure. We're going away from performance, but that's okay for a minute.
This is not just about performance.
Of
It's
course.
about you.
So I think the biggest thing is just constantly focus on adding value. So understand the value of the test you're automating. Don't just blindly automate scripted test steps verbatim. Think about why you're automating. Avoid counting metrics. I hate when people say, well, I need to automate this many tests or this percentage of tests. Why? What needle are you trying to move? Please tell me it's not just the number of tests, because that doesn't add business value. It doesn't add value to your delivery process.
Mhm.
So focus on the needles you do want to move that are closer to your business objectives. Yeah, they're harder to tie what you're doing with test automation to those metrics. But I argue that if that needle's moving in the right direction and you've got an effective automated test suite, it really doesn't matter as much. And I know that drives directors crazy because they want beautiful dashboards and metrics. But the reality is, let's really focus on the problem we're trying to solve, and um, that was kind of the main gist. And then also pointing out the skill sets that ironically I see missing from test automation engineers. They're very good at tooling. They're very good at the tech skills. They're very poor at software testing. Um, so how do you really know what you're doing is valuable if you don't really know how to understand software or understand the value of software testing? So that was really uh, the focus.
The core of the
Yeah.
talk. I totally agree, and we can spin it back to performance because we were mentioning earlier, not only on QA in general, just like yeah, I automated that many processes. Were those useful processes? Were you? I generated. I remember in my early days, my performance test report was a load test report, not performance. Is 70 pages long. I was even proud of it. And like, so what's the business value of that? Is anybody truly, really gonna ever read that?
Yeah.
Why don't you put the important points? Is it usable, contextual?
Yes.
What's relevant? What brings? I love how you proposed it. Like, are you presenting value with this?
Yeah.
And it's an interesting conflict with management metrics because that as well is always about numbers. What's the percentage of improvement that we're seeing, or coverage percentage? How do you even come up with coverage percentage? What's 100%? You can always think of something
Right.
new,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It'd be a never-ending task for sure. And to tie it back to performance, even worse, um, just not understanding why you're doing it in the first place. So many organizations still are check the box. Do we do the
Oh
performance
my
test?
God, really?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, and then what does that lead to? Well, since they just want to check the box, they haven't thought about requirements or objectives. So you spend a lot of painful time trying to get that to understand the problem you're trying to solve in the first place, or the information you're trying to present. And yeah, it's it. And then if they're only trying to check the box, they really don't care that much, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a little like again some random management metric. No one is gonna say like, yeah, we have 43.4% coverage in our tests. Like, how to prove it? Probably you can't. And if you need to, you can pull out of anywhere. Why do you need this checkbox of performance covered? And again, you just reminded me on the old days when that checkbox was not performance, was load testing, and that's what
yep.
they wanted. And you're right, it's a big portion of the time that I was. It was paid time, so if the customers wanted, well, you still try to kind of prove them like, hey, you don't really need this. Are you sure? Yes, checkbox, please. There's
Yep.
money. Okay. And it was like over half of the time of the project, truly figuring out like, what do you need? Yeah, performance something. But what is your something? No, the thing. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, really? Is it a load test? Is it an endurance test? I want everything. You cannot have everything.
Yep.
Why not?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. We'll be scripting for the next 3 years. Do you want that?
Seriously, there were some customers that were like, "Can you do 2 years?" And I'm like, "I'm trying to make a point." No, but yes, I mean, talk to my manager. They are the ones that charge the bill. Yeah. But and I see how that can permeate in
Yeah.
performance, in QA, in IT in general, functionalities, and I don't know. I'm gonna touch the forbidden topic. Not forbidden, but I think this is the first interview that it took us the longest, almost 15 minutes without AI.
No.
All
So
those situations. Are we good? Okay. Oh, I have a message. Okay. Uh, yeah. So, camera people were getting messages. Yeah. Oh, we're having messages. Okay. Yeah. You have fans, Lee?
oh no.
Yeah, people are writing to you. Okay. That's a good interruption. So we have, oh, yeah, very good performance engineer, Jacob Daring. I hope that I'm pronouncing
Yeah.
your name well.
Yep, I know him
Uh,
well. Well, I know of him.
yeah, yeah, he's also getting
Yep.
big on the performance stage, and he beat me to it. Okay, yeah, he sent the question before. How much AI is there on the STAR conference comparing to how much AI you see on your daily job and routines?
Oh, it's
Definitely, there's a lot here.
there's a lot here, and we're in the hype cycle, right? And I think first of all, probably a lot of people think they have to include AI in their talks to get accepted, to feel relevant, perhaps. Um,
I do feel that FOMO.
yeah,
I won't deny.
yeah, for sure. And I have a couple talks on AI, but I think um, in certainly in performance, I'm not seeing it that much. We talked a little bit about this on the panel yesterday. I think there's a huge potential for results analysis, identifying uh, anomalies and things that we just as humans we couldn't possibly process the data to the extent that AI can, or identify the patterns. So I think there's potential there. I'm seeing it more on the in practice on the functional side. So and not this holy grail of here's a requirement and magically generate the test cases and automate them. But I'm seeing it in more of a productivity tool. So assisting in creating test cases, giving you test ideas, analyzing the results. I'm seeing a lot around MCPs and being able to take test cases and tie it to your existing framework, and within the context of your framework, generate automated test cases. So, but again, primarily as a productivity tool, but nothing compared to the number of talks that were you if you just listened to these talks or just looked at the schedule, you think the whole world was nothing but AI, and it's not yet.
Yeah. No, no, no. And
But we have to be ready. We have to be aware for sure.
someone at the breakfast table where I was, they were mentioning that the things that you hear here in the conference that are mind blowing, happening AI, blah blah, you don't see it as much out there in the world, but you will in 3 or 4 months because this is the melting pot of those ideas. They are bringing
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah, it's coming.
And aligned to Jacob's question, do you have any interesting uses that you have been doing with AI on your daily performance work or that you have been able to implement?
Um, Not so much on the performance. I told you we're looking at the results analysis and pattern
Hmm.
identification things, mostly tied to um, uh, continuous performance testing early in the cycle. So trending results, run to run, and being
Hmm.
able to identify something more than the uh, large
Problems.
obvious regressions. Um, more so on the functional side and a
And
productivity tool.
you're not the only one that I have seen that is on performance per se, super exploding the AI capabilities. Do you think there's like a blocker or something that we haven't figured out in performance to truly leverage AI?
Well, I think maybe just getting stuck in our ways and doing things the same way, and not thinking. Even I talk all the time about continuous and early analysis of performance. Um, but I had to be dragged kicking and screaming into that at one point. It was like, no, it's load runner, and you only do it at the end of the release, and it's a big system level performance test because if it's not a production environment, the results don't mean anything. And this is going back a long way, but I had that kind of narrow-minded, ignorant view of things once too. So there could be a little bit of that. I still find in larger organizations they're very locked down from an AI perspective. They might have their own gateway to an LLM. They might have their own models internally, but they're not allowing people to experiment and go outside. A lot of things are blocked on the networks.
Mhm.
So I think there's a little bit of just the uncertainty and unknown security risks, certainly IP risks, that these large organizations don't know how to deal with quite yet.
You're bringing a very interesting point as well. Yeah, some organizations are squared, forbidden AI stuff for all the risks that can be there or that we don't know that there are there. And they're like, oh, hell no, even regulation wise, they can't. But you brought a very interesting point that I haven't thought about. In performance testing, I always joke that, especially scripting, it becomes like a Stockholm syndrome. We end up liking it a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
When well, at the beginning it's suffering, pain, and crying and all that. Eventually you get good at it, and you're like, "Huh, this is kind of entertaining for the sake of entertaining." And many of us may not be jumping because we truly enjoy those correlations now and
Yes.
parameterizing and okay, let's test the air. The utilization goes this way, and this amount of virtual users. Okay, let's. It's entertaining. It's super fun. So that's an interesting perspective, Lee. That everybody tuning in, Jacob, thank you very much for the question. That we should be paying attention to and don't let our I don't know love affairs with the tool or the
Yes.
practice to get in the way of modernity. Amigo Lee, so we are starting a little bit the ramp down period, total pun intended now. And do you have any last recommendations for the audience, for the performance engineers tuning in,
Well, we
or
would
rock stars, possible rock stars?
on the performance side, I think really look to what you can learn about performance as early in the delivery cycle as possible. We had some good points yesterday on the panel. Even just single user and understand performance isn't load.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
first of all, but
Bravo.
just start to trend performance as part of your, the automated regression testing you already do. It's not that hard to add. You'll get, a trend analysis, and yeah, if you have issues there, it's not going to get any better under load.
Yeah,
Uh, so why are we waiting to the end of release to do this big load test? So understand as much as you can about performance as early as you can. Trend those results. It doesn't matter that you're not in a production environment. It's more the trend that matters. So that's probably, if you're talking organizations, that's probably the best advice I could have is don't wait, because the options aren't good if you find issues.
sweet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am even tempted of that what you just said. Create multiple TikToks out of it so that
Yeah.
it's pretty much drills on people's skull. Please, super important. Really good recommendations. They feel basic and very evident, but you wouldn't believe how many people are not doing that. And real good ones, amigo. Um, almost last, before we let you go, because our amigo Lee has to go to the one-on-ones. He's so kind and generous that he also helps people to share the knowledge and everything. He's heading up to more adventures. And before we let you go, amigo, where can people get in touch with you, follow up with what you're doing, send your performance questions, recommendations?
Of course. So, first of all, I'm always happy to talk about this stuff, and that's the I'm not being just for marketing purposes. I love talking about this stuff because I learn as much from people I'm talking to, even if it's just from the questions that I wouldn't have thought of.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. So, feel free to get in touch with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with anyone. Lee.barnes at fortegrp.com, email as well. Um, but yeah, that's probably the two best ways. But again, no, and there's no dumb questions.
Yeah.
There's no dumb questions.
I love how you said that performance testing, we cannot just shut up about it. It's like performance testing is like CrossFit. When you are doing it, you cannot just shut up about it, and you have to let everybody know the best practices and everything to find
Yeah.
out it's that much fun. Now, to wrap things up, where am I from?
You're from Mexico. I'm not sure where.
Yes, I'm from Mexico, Mexico City. Not so important, but I generally try to bring the flavor of Mexico
Yep.
everywhere. And I brought some candies for you, Mexican
Ah.
candies that you are going to test on camera.
Oh,
So
great.
we're gonna check his performance with Mexican candies. According to me, they are not spicy, but never trust a Mexican when they say that. So yeah, we have here three options:
Okay.
strawberry gummies covered with chili powder, uh, sugar blocks with lime and chili, and tamarind. Which one do you want to try?
That one.
Okay, he chose one called tamborin. So bring it on. I'll hold the mic for you so that you can open it. And pay attention. We want to see his expression, if he enjoys it, if he suffers, or it's okay to spit it if you want. We have napkins ready for that. So let's see. He ate a tamborin, a very good candy, lots of sugar, kind of soury, tiny bit
It's
spicy,
very
if you
good.
ask me. Okay, test passed.
Yeah,
Good.
no, a little bit of like if it's tahini on the rim for a margarita,
Oh,
very good.
okay, okay,
I'm,
but
I'm
milder
slight-
than
yeah,
tahini.
yeah, yeah, mild, certainly milder than tahini, but a little bit of hint of that for sure.
He's trained in the
Kind of a
ways of
chili spice.
tajin, so
Yeah,
he knows the thing.
very
Really
good.
good one. Okay, he passed the test. He is ready for production, and we are ready to stop this session. Thank you, everybody. This is going to be the last interview of the day and of this conference, pretty much. Because later today, we have the Jana Loeffler's panel. We're going to be streaming it as well, helping her. There's going to be a Slido code. You will be able to send questions. And after that, we are going to have our trivia. Remember, we are streaming that trivia. You can send your questions to our Slido. Let me quickly check the number so that you will have it at hand. So send it to the Slido number 2474309. Send your questions, upvote the questions that are already there because we have a few, and make all these super thought leaders, testers, suffer a little bit. They are going to argue, discuss, and some of them are, they like ruckus and chaos, so it's going to get interesting. Beware, our amigo Lee is going to be there. So, amigo Lee, thank you very much. I'm very
Thank you,
happy
Leandro.
that you survived the candy
Yep.
and that you
Thank
liked
you,
it.
amigo.
There you have it, our amigo Lee Barnes. We're tuning out the interviews and we're going to have more adventures later today. Stay tuned and get ready for the trivia. Send your questions, please. And there's going to be a last stream wrapping up everything. For now, Leandro out, Lee out. Adios. Take care. Adios, Lee.
Yep.
Take care, everybody.